than 4 hours.
I hear you, man. Nah, we won't be we won't be forever.
I would like to be full of positivity right now, but I can't. As much as my voice carries energy, it's not feeling it right now. The Buccaneers fall. To be honest, I don't even give a shit of the scoreline. I believe they scored again. It was abysmal to watch.
Yeah.
AJ,
Yes,
after
sir.
me and you sat and discussed this pre-game of what me and you liked. Now, me and you aren't NFL head coaches by any stretch of imagination. I know you coach youth for a bit, and I coach. I still currently coach at
Mhm.
adult level, which isn't nowhere near the at that level. But my point being is, we both had our opinions of what we think. And for the most part, me and you generally tend to agree on coaching style. They did nothing of what we said.
I think that's
We
damn.
said on defense, jam up CeeDee Lamb and let Levante David take over. What One thing I saw from this Buccaneer team is why was Levante David on the line a lot of the time, and they put safety in his position. I saw a safety in his position next to Devin White. Devin White's your pass rusher. What you doing with? No disrespect to Levante David. Levante David is the guy you want back there because he's got more chance of picking a ball off. It ain't.
More than that. So this is why I told we would explain. I would go back and forth with you about the bend and don't break. They were bending to break. The entire game. You're playing our players are more physical. You want to lose if you're going to lose the fight, you lose going one on one. The simple issue is that Bowles believed in a Cowboys team more than he believed in his own defense, and the Bucs were just being shredded by zone coverages and cushion coverages. He played with no intensity. The scheme was
No,
terrible. This is
zone
a
coverage.
yes,
Let's talk about zone coverage because
sure.
everyone talks about zone coverage as it being a bad thing. Zone coverage isn't a bad thing, and I always say this in my first meeting with all my players, and I said it this week because I've just started. Our season's just started up, and I said to them, like, our schemes come out, so everyone's in the playbook. And some people believe in it, some people don't, because they've been in other schemes, they've done this, and they've been in other teams, right? So I always turn around to people and say, right, guys, you're looking at the playbook. Some of you will like it, some of you won't like it. I will tell you right now, cover one, cover two, cover three, cover whatever the fuck will win you a championship. It will. Any scheme will win you a championship, two, whatever the fuck. It will win you a championship. But you know what else it will do? It will fucking give you a losing season. It's not just the scheme, it's the execution of the scheme and the amount of dumbass shit I saw in zone coverage shows that they do not practice zone coverage often. Linebackers are supposed to gain depth. First touchdown, Devin White is just sat there looking, and he's jumping left to right, left to right, left to right, left to right. He's not gaining any depth. If he gained depth, he's picking it. It's done. But he's relying on the back guy. I don't know if that's their scheme or whatever the fuck. But in that zone scheme, they are basically hook seam curl defenders, which means you work to 10 and you keep going.
Yeah.
They were so scared of Dak Prescott running the ball, they just sat there spying, 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 spying. Oh, he's throwing the ball. Well, yeah, because he knows you're spying. You need look. I don't mind. I can live with a team giving up a quarterback hurry little fucking scramble. I can because they're hard to defend. They generally are. If we lost because of quarterback scrambles, I'd be like, nah, yeah, we need to work. We need to work on our quarterback scrambles. And I know someone will turn around and go, "You spy somebody." You can't spy all the time. It just doesn't work. But there are times and places for it. Third down. That's when you want to spy in because that's when he's more likely to take off.
Yeah.
That's what happens. It's understanding the down with the play that's going to come up.
Yeah.
And this Buccaneers team did not execute in any of that. And when there is zone coverage, now Levante David is a good zone coverage guy. We looked poor, extremely poor.
Bucks
We
look
didn't do anything that me and you said. The offense didn't do anything me and you said. And I credit the Cowboys defense to their run defense because their run defense was very good. Micah Parsons, he did have the cast off, which was probably a bit more of a factor, but he still could have been. What did we say, AJ?
You chip him.
Chip him. Did you see me chipping him?
No, there was no
chip. You see chipping once?
There was no nothing. And again, what makes it sad, you see all he does is go on the side Levante David was on. I mean, the Donovan
yeah, I got you. 76.
You mean to tell me you don't chip? You don't try to blow him up. You don't try
or
to.
You don't put K Dot on that side.
Yeah.
Or Kokeeft or whoever.
Put somebody else to help him out. This was a game where you should have told Donovan, if you get beat, don't worry about it. We got you with Mike. We got you with somebody else. They did no crossing routes. There was no spread. There was no nothing. It was just they didn't use no width of the field. They went to predictability. Nothing.
You know what? It looked like regular season. It looked like we were all expecting. We're like, oh, okay, now the Buccaneers are going to go. Whatever we had, like, how many times did me and you used to say, oh, man, I hope they've been holding a little something back. Just enough to win.
Yeah.
And then we've been caught out a couple of times and lost it. Because there have been games where we played just enough to win, but we didn't finish. Right? And that happens. Just enough to win and we didn't finish. This wasn't just enough to win and didn't finish. This was a straight up Armageddon, punch you in the nose and laugh in your face. The only thing I can say is I'm with Russell Gage going down in the fourth quarter is the level of respect that the Dallas Cowboys players showed to him. That was fucking awesome, in my opinion. It was like they could have been swaggering up and down the field, and rightfully fucking so, because they dicked us. We are now currently carrying a fucking Dallas Cowboys baby within our womb because they impregnated us.
Yeah, exactly. And it's sad because you have all this talent and you never truly utilize it. And
you know what's worse, brother?
What's up?
A good chunk of that talent's going to go.
Oh, absolutely.
That's the worst part. That's you get this. You know, when you talked about Dallas Cowboys window to win a Super Bowl, yeah, and I still agree with you. You're still 100% right. It was 16, maybe 15 to 18, and they couldn't get it done. But the Tampa Bay Buccaneers window was 2020 to 2023, and could have been prolonged if
they win.
They win, or at least have a deep playoff run.
Yes.
So they go to NFC Championship game or they go to the Super Bowl.
Amen.
That continues a bit further, and it becomes 2023.
This is what's going to happen. The Cowboys are going to go to San Fran and get their ass whooped. That's you know.
I hope so. I need to see that because at one point I was like,
I'm telling you, I need to see
Dallas get spanked.
They're going to get their ass tossed. And you said it. Brady's gone. I don't blame him. Levante's gone. A few other people with contracts are gone. Right. Why would you want to stay with this piss poor of an organization, especially if the Glazers continue to let the shit keep going? I said it already. This is time. Buck Skull even said it. Blow it up. You do blow this up because at this point now, you don't want that stink on your team. You don't want that. Honestly, Bowles lost the locker room. People don't want to say that, but I guarantee you this. Those players wouldn't want to play for him anymore. Why would they? Why would they truly want to play for a guy like that? You have no intensity. You have no courage. You have no adjusting. You don't do anything in slick. I'm going to just tell you, I keep telling you this. Everybody wants to always think just because you're in a position doesn't mean you qualify. There's a lot of political things that can happen. Again, and I'm saying this. It's a lot of things, political aware appropriation is why Byron and Bowles received it, which they didn't deserve it. They didn't earn it. I don't give a damn what anybody says. Byron was the past 3 years that he's been here, he was under the guidance of Arians. We see what he has done since Arians has left. With all due respect, Byron Leftwich should never coach on a professional level again. He's trash. He's terrible. And I say this not just out of emotion, but if you can't do this with a fucking loaded roster, why in God's name, if I'm a rebuilding, if I'm a owner and I'm on a rebuilding team, why the hell would I want you to be there? You can't do this with a talent. how do I expect you to develop talent? First of all, I wouldn't even want you to, you might set back the new talent. Byron doesn't have it. He doesn't want this. You can tell. He's just doing this for the check and just to get some names going. He just doesn't, he's not that guy. And it's okay, Slick. It's okay to say if you're a little better, because you know why? When I was in the bar, literally 20 people knew every play that Byron ran. Literally 20 people knew the scheme that Bowles was. It's not that. It doesn't, please, for you average Joes out there who truly know the game, it's not that you weren't good. You just wasn't lucky to be in the position to have the right person look at you. Slick, you would have called it. We and you called it. It's very simple. You mean to fucking tell me you don't try anything? You go to the same shit?
Yeah, I from an offensive point of view and a defensive point of view, it felt like they were happy with where they were and what they were doing. And the thing that frustrates me the most is, okay, look, I'm all for giving a guy a chance and opportunity, and I did, for one, was a person who believed in Coach Bowles, and I went, you know what, he deserves an opportunity. But there's caution to the wind. You've got to add caution to the wind. When you're an NFL owner, you are stop looking. NFL owners, listen to me. Stop looking to make a splash and do what's smart. Let's say you have an offensive coordinator or a defensive coordinator on your staff. They are looking to have an opportunity. They are 100% are. Let's say your head coach retires, like ours did. And I'm saying this to all 32 teams, including ours. Your head coach retires. You had a good run. Now you've got to choose who's going to be your next head coach. I liked our current head coach for the job, but signing him to a 5-year deal was dumb. You sign him to either something small or you make him interim for the year to prove himself. He's still a defensive coordinator that hasn't done anything as a head coach.
Amen.
Throw caution to the wind, because guess what? You will be paying millions of dollars. And we know you don't like paying players millions of dollars, but for some reason, throwing millions of dollars at fucking coaches is absolutely acceptable. No, we want you to spend the money on the fucking players. And if they don't pan out, then fair enough. But at least you try to change something.
Mm-hmm.
By spending extra money on head coaches, you are just pissing money down the fucking toilet. That's a fact.
You're pissing money down the toilet. And
Byron Leftwood, head coach, let's go. $30 million for 3 years. You can get out of that after year one.
That's right.
You sign him for the same amount of money per year for 5 years, $50 million, and you get rid of him after you've only given him a fifth of that? Guys, that's not going to work. You do not know what you had. Just because Bruce Arians was vouching for him, and I vouched for him, a lot of people did. But we don't know, so you let him prove himself and go, right, we're giving you the keys. You're going to have this fucking supreme roster. We're going to go 2 years. Go 2 years, and I'm going to give you, fuck it, let's go nuts. I'm going to give you $20 million guaranteed. Who would not take that offer? $20 million guaranteed for 2 years for a head coach?
Yeah.
Means you're only eating $10 million next year if you don't keep him, instead of eating $40 million, which is a heck of a lot. And this is the thing. I want them to clean house, but I just don't see it.
I don't see it either. And this is where, if not for the Glazers, I'm speaking to you now. Don't be surprised if you continue to keep Bowles and Brady and a few other key players are gone. Don't be surprised if those stands are empty. Don't be surprised if you see that nobody is covering your team like they usually do. Don't be surprised if your team doesn't produce. Don't be surprised if they go back into the former shells of themselves. Don't be surprised. This is where I know the Bucs will be in purgatory, is if it gets to the point after next season, Evans even goes, okay, I'm out of here. I tell you this, it's not far-fetched. If Evans just says, fuck it, I'll go somewhere else where, Evans don't want to deal with this. Levante and these guys don't want to deal with going back to the bottom. There would have to be an immediate change. And like you said, it's probably not going to happen. Now, I'm hoping and praying that maybe the Glazers have been doing something way before we even knew it. Talk to people and say, hey, if this happens,
This is our contingency.
This is our contingency plan. If you get blown out, we got somebody else. Because it's at this point, it'd be different if the Bucs lost by a field goal or maybe even just a touchdown.
Last minute
Yes,
touchdown.
yes.
That kind of late in the game shit.
Right, but
that can happen.
But for you to be embarrassed and then from
I
the
hated seeing his fucking family dancing around in the fucking stands. That fucking Jerry Jones.
Yes,
fucking time of their lives.
Exactly, and I can't like. I'm gonna keep myself sane, so I can't watch any social media tomorrow. I made my content. If you guys want to catch it, it's about Bucking Time on YouTube. Flex Luthor _13 on TikTok. I let them have it. I let them have it. So I'm just letting you know, do not have your children around because I just told you how I felt. You know, we're definitely gonna cover a lot more things from a logical standpoint for tomorrow. But even right now, it's not gonna be the same. I mean, not gonna be different. It's the same thing. Our coaching staff failed us this season. And unfortunately, this is what happens for people out there who don't know the game. It's not just about players. The coaches and players have to be in sync. Whatever that coach implements, that's what your team is going to replicate. That is why it is so imperative that you have a good coach, especially when you have talent. The Buccaneers had the talent. They didn't have the talent in the coaching staff, and they all need to be gone because the problem is it was a lot of political nonsense where we have an all certain type of cast. I don't give a shit who you are. What I give a shit is, can you give this team W's and get us deep into the playoffs? Can you get us to have a respectable record? Can you do something where we see that our players have promising careers? We didn't see that this year. So, Slick, guys like you out there, please don't ever, just because they're in the league, don't mean that they are about shit. Again,
don't worry, bro. I'm back at my football thing, so I'm enjoying my life right now. Just been asked to be defensive backs coach for the under 16, so I'm loving that too. So I'm making a bit of a mark for myself in my new team. So really enjoying myself in my new team. So hopefully we go places and win some shit. So, but I just wanted to get Tom Brady also looked awful in this game too. He did, and don't get me wrong, like Blake Allen was dog shit. Like there's no denying it. Some of the throws, it's like, who are you throwing to, guy? Like Tom Brady, someone else is breaking that way, and Tom Brady's thrown over here, and I'm like, wait, who are you throwing to, man? Let's talk about what the Buccaneers have got to deal with, because this is the grim reality of it, guys. Yeah. And I'm going to reel off a name, and you're going to tell me, give me a percentage, just off the top of your head. It doesn't matter if you're right or wrong. Who cares? I'm going to give you a name, and you're going to go, how likely they are to re-sign. So if you said 100%, they're 100% likely to re-sign. You ready? Tom Brady.
98% he's not coming back.
Levante David.
80% he's not coming back.
I'm going 50-50 just because of where he's from and what he's about. Akeem Hicks.
80% he's gone. He'll go somewhere else and collect a check.
Julio Jones will retire. I don't even want to entertain that question. William Golston.
I'm going to go with 50-50. It's a 50-50, depending on where he goes. Who wants
Raheem Nunez Roches.
70% just because he hasn't proved enough to be consistent to be a big dog. That's all. He's a role player, so he needs the consistent.
Yeah, he even needs to find someone else who's going to pay him a bit more for the role playing job or stay with Tampa. Blaine Gabbert.
I really don't care, but it's probably 50-50 as well.
If for me, if it's Blaine Gabbert and we can retain the coaches, he's 100% in.
Right.
Because they like what they see.
If they clean house, I'm going to go with 50-50.
I go less than that as well. Kyle Rudolph is done. I don't even need to speak about it.
He's done.
Sean Murphy-Bunting.
65% he's gone because somebody will pay for him for his services. He can go somewhere.
As an nickel, for sure.
Yep.
Aaron Stinney, and I did not realize this guy was up, and that is a big name.
Aaron Stinney
was the guy who wanted
60% he's gone. 60% because he showed he can do something.
Okay, so now it's going to get into the role players. More of the role players. I mean, some of these guys are on rookie deals. That's why their money's low. So Josh Wiles, he could resign. Giovanni will probably retire.
Yeah, he'll resign.
Keanu Neal, I think, probably will go elsewhere.
Yep.
Unless he's offered a starting role.
He'll go somewhere else. He's not getting the
No, but you turn around and say, "I'll give you a starting role," he might want to stay. I'm just saying, maybe. Rashad Perriman, to be honest, I don't care.
Yeah, I don't care.
I don't care. I don't want to be mean to Rashad Perriman. Thank you for the 2021 season, but this season you've been non-existent. Patrick O'Connor, which is a sad one to lose because I quite like the guy. He could be gone too. Carl Nassib, we're talking Logan Ryan. That's another guy. Gennard Avery, I'm not too fussed about. Jamal Dean is probably one of the prime free agents the Buccaneers need to re-sign, along with people like Levante David, Aaron Stinney, Akeem Hicks. Those are the names you need. All the names I just mentioned, those are the few guys you do need to get hold of. Mike Edwards. Now, this is the question. Mike Edwards is super talented, but you've got to keep somebody. You've got to keep somebody. I think they'll end up Anthony Nelson as well. Anthony Nelson, that's a big name to lose. Nick Leverett's gone. I'm not worried about Scotty Miller, but I'll reel them off quick. Tom Brady, Levante David, Akeem Hicks, Julio Jones, William Golston, Raheem Nunez-Roches, Blaine Gabbert, Kyle Rudolph, Sean Murphy-Bunting, Aaron Stinney, Josh Wells, Giovanni Bernard, Keanu Neal, Rashad Perriman, Pat O'Connor. Jesus Christ, I'm going to run out of breath at this point. Carl Nassib, Logan Ryan, Gennard Avery, Derridin Sneed, and Jamal Dean, Mike Edwards, Anthony Nelson, Dee Delaney, Cam Gill, Nick Leverett, and Scotty Miller. That's an astronomical amount of names the Buccaneers are going to lose. Now, don't be wrong, not every single one of those guys are big name players, but your Jamal Dean is, your Mike Edwards is, your Anthony Nelson is, Nick Leverett was, and I think they could bring back a Nick Leverett because he's not going to command a lot of money because he's a backup guard.
Yeah, I still would go with 70% of them leaving. And here's the thing.
For sure.
With them leaving, that still would be a way to save up money because that's another thing where our cap isn't that good. So now you really have to rely on this is where Light, unfortunately, he's going to have to get his drafting on again. Now, I'm not going to lie. I would get a left tackle depending on if I might get a first round pick. If I get we do get a first round, I'm going to go for a left tackle. I don't want Donovan Smith in there anymore. I think mentally he doesn't have it anymore either.
I completely agree.
Yeah, he doesn't.
And I just want to add to this to people. When people say, "Oh, we need to get a running quarterback," right? I know what you're thinking, but what you're thinking is wrong in what you want. Because there are two types of running quarterbacks. There are two types of running quarterbacks people think about. And there are the ones that get injured, which are all of them. And there are the ones that run on specific downs, like your Josh Allens, that they see it, it's there, they take advantage of it. Like an Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is one of the best at this. He's not a running quarterback, but he runs when he needs to. I'm not talking about this year or whatever, but historically. That's what you're talking about. You're not talking about the true dual threat because the true dual threat most of them are fucking sat in a fucking hospital somewhere. They will. And I'm not being mean. It's because when you're so talented with your feet, your first instinct is to take off for the run.
Yep. And
you will get injured. That's why I like Lamar Jackson. He's a great player. He's super talented. He will have an injury-riddled career for the rest of his life because he's a running quarterback. What you want is a quarterback that can ad-lib, like a Josh Allen, who knows, pocket is collapsing, everyone's covered, I'm just going to get as much yardage as I can, and I'm going to fall down. That is what you're looking for.
Well, you're right. They have also a bigger and Josh Allen also is a bigger dude. Lamar is not a Josh Allen stocky kind of guy. He's more of a fluid swifter. It's like this with Lamar. The only thing that I will give him credit for. And in his defense, can you imagine if Lamar had a Mike Evans and Chris Godwin to throw to, someone of consistency? You see what I'm saying? He might not necessarily always need a line like that, because that's the thing about Baltimore. They didn't do him justice. Hollywood, as your primary receiver, you're not doing him any favors. But I get what you're saying for the most part. He's the anomaly of the situation. Yes, you want a quarterback that can make shit happen. And this is why I say for next season, I'm either way, regardless, I'm still drafting a left tackle, because at this point,
It's not even close. You're trying to justify it. You don't need to justify it. I think the entire world, well, the entire Buck fan universe is on your side, including myself. It has to be done because he hasn't shown consistency. He had 2 good years and he is fizzled away, and for whatever reason. And then he had the fucking balls. I didn't like this move when he turned around and went, I'm dealing with shit. I was like, okay, well, everyone's dealing with stuff, and that's fine. And then they went, well, what are you dealing with? You went, I don't want to talk about it. So, well, then don't bitch about it.
Then don't bitch about it. And again, I don't want that headache anymore, because now you're giving me loafing vibes. Now you're giving me I don't give a shit vibes. Because one of our guests earlier, Candace, when she said she covered them before, the way that they used to play in the past, she said they played in a way of, I'm just here to get a check and leave. That is exactly what I got tonight. And this is the first time, I can't believe I've ever seen this. Yeah, the way this is crazy. When Brady played, especially in the third quarter, I felt that he played in a way where he was just trying to get it over. And that broke me. That's why I couldn't watch it anymore. I never thought I would see the GOAT have a moment of, fuck it, I'm just trying to play to get it over. And that's when I came to that conclusion. Okay, if he can't even rally his players up, just to do something to get.
Yeah, there was no spark.
Yeah, that means
I was expecting to see Tom Brady going bonkers on the sideline at some point, and it didn't happen.
That's when
nobody. I mean, either the broadcast crew are fucking mundane and stupid, but there's got to be some sort of spark on that sideline. Surely someone's saying fucking some. I've watched games of other teams where you see a DC, an OC, a fucking cornerbacks coach getting into someone's face going, you gotta fucking do this, and another guy's pushing back, and you got a couple of players holding him back. I want to see some fucking passion. There was nothing in this fucking game.
Nothing there, and that is why
it was a check game.
Yeah, and exactly, and that is why if you are the Glazer, you don't want that. You've seen this way too many times before in the past where they were just there for checks. You got to clean house, and if that means you have to move on from Brady, then it is what it is. Thank you, Brady, for giving us the Super Bowl. Thank you, Arians. But now it is time to see what we can do, because we still have certain pieces left that we can still build.
The skill set players of that offensive line, you still can take Aaron Stinney out of it. We took Aaron Stinney out because he's in the conversation, right? He's going to be looking at a high-paid rotational piece, or he's going to be a low-end paid starter. That's probably where he's looking, because he hasn't proven himself as a starter. And I'm hoping that's going to be the thing that keeps him in Tampa Bay. That offensive line stays the same, at least for the bare minimum. And then you draft a guy that, hey, that's the way you have to turn around. You look at Donovan Smith and say, dude, you haven't done enough to prove to us that we don't need to draft a guy. We're drafting a guy. Now you need to prove to us that he's just a backup.
Yeah,
prove to us that he's a backup that we can rotate in multiple different positions.
Yeah,
because that's the role you want to make him play.
Exactly. And at this point, I don't know. I'd be like, Donovan, you get the fuck stepping. If we draft a good left tackle, it's like now.
I need to address this because I'm not having this. I'm not on my show. Yeah. Mike Evans is the fucking hero of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't give a fuck what anyone offers him. This guy's been Mr. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. School Buck gang, you know.
Yeah, here's the thing. We've already learned the lesson of not to get away household names. Look at what happened when the Bucs got rid of Derek Brooks in an unprofessional manner. That set us
true.
Back. You don't do
Why can't they do this with coaches though, Buff? Why can't they do this with coaches? I don't give a fuck how unprofessional they are. These players put their asses on the line.
Yeah.
People like Mike Evans and what have you, they put their asses on the line. I will be honest. I will be broken fucking hearted if I found out Mike Evans was traded.
Right. No, you don't do that. You don't do that. And you're not the only one, Slick, because there were a lot of people after Brooks got done dirty. They stopped coming to the games. They stopped supporting. That's why we had those fucking blackouts. So you really don't look. It was bad enough for Brooks. We know this. But Mike Evans, someone who shows up consistently, you can't do that. It's one of those things now. We already said it again. The Glazers are going to have to do a lot of soul searching. I really hope that they were interviewing other coaches before, and now somebody can come up and say, you know what? This is what this team needs. I can help you. I'm here to do it. And now, after this season, because let's be real, you already said it. Brady's not coming back. He's going to go somewhere else where he feels like
Or he's gonna retire. He's gonna do that, or he's gonna retire. If I was him, I'd retire and just be done with it because
I agree. I would retire too.
I've not, other than the comebacks, and the comebacks have been special, but the bread and butter of his play of this year has been very misthrows. They're either underthrown, overthrown. They're either too inside or they're too far. He's missing his wide receiver. He's not hitting them in stride. He's hitting their ass. Like it's really uncharacteristic for his accuracy is off.
Yeah, I agree, and I would retire too. Now, will I say now? This is where I would love to talk to the Shannon Sharps of the world. I would love to talk to people who actually played the game, because what pisses me off for people who actually played the game, you can't sit here and say that his coaches put him in the right position, because I don't care. Look, let's be real. The fucking coaching staff they got Peyton Manning a fucking championship his last year before he retired.
They dragged his ass to a fucking championship.
Yes, that's the perfect word. They dragged his ass. So don't.
That 18 jersey had holes in it. It was ripped to shreds. It wasn't orange anymore, blue and orange anymore. It was just this weird vibe of fucking brown.
Yes,
blood, because they just dragged his.
Amen. I tell people, don't you dare fucking say that Peyton won that Super Bowl. That was the defense that played lights out, and that is why I think, like you said, it's just time. It might be just time for Brady to just wrap it up. But
AJ, what's the biggest river in Florida?
The biggest river in Florida,
the thickest one. Because I want to use an analogy that I use a lot, but it won't translate.
Oh my God, I'm lost on this.
Okay, let's go with some. What's the Mississippi River is pretty big, right?
Yep,
pretty thick, right? Mm-hmm. Pretty thick. People try and swim that occasionally to try and swim the length of it, the width of it. Yeah. Okay. If you drown while swimming the Mississippi River and your corpse washes up on the other side of the shore, did you swim the fucking race? No, you fucking corpse washed up. That's like celebrating fucking dying. That's what the Bucs are right now.
Yeah.
Our corpse is just washed up. We need to figure it out.
We need to figure it out, and we need to do it pronto, because again, if you handle shit fast, maybe some players do say, oh wait, they're handling business. I might want to see where we're going with this, because I'm telling you, if the Glazers wanted, you know what would really make me feel better? If tomorrow the Glazers come out and say, we have relieved Bowles and Byron of their duties.
I think Leftwich is probably your first person you go after, because that's the easy one.
Oh yeah, no, he's the easy one. But if you fuck it, swoop the entire people out and say.
I think once the head coach gone, that's pretty much everyone gone anyway, because your next head coach is going to start replacing people anyway.
That's what I'm saying. You swoop them out. You show the team we do not accept this type of mediocrity, no matter who it is. I guarantee you this, and they pick the right coach. Some players might say, you know what? We might have a shot. We might be able to do something. I'll stay for 1 year, get this money. But right now, this is just we'll talk more about it tomorrow. But right now, this is just a moment of you see, I can't even get as raw. I'm just dumbfounded. I'm disappointed. I'm devastated. I'm disgusted, because the simple fact
you had a coaching staff that had an A+ roster minus an offensive line. We'll give them the offensive line struggles, but we saw other teams do stuff in the playoffs with a beat-up offensive line. Look, okay, we know that Joe Burrow and Tom Brady aren't the same fucking player. We also know the tenacity of Tom Brady is way higher than somebody like Joe Burrow. So I'm not using the offensive line as an excuse.
Me
It was
neither.
interior stuff. It was mostly interior stuff, and it's just an easy way just to kind of paper over the cracks and say, "Oh, it's the offensive line." No,
No,
there's a lot gone wrong here.
do you know how many coaching teams adjust? Again, the Bengals, how many sacks did Burrow take last night? They still fucking won. They still did their thing. It doesn't matter. Good coaching overcompensates anything. You just have to do it. And unfortunately, we weren't up to par. We were too predictable on both sides of the ball. We had no intensity. We had no belief. And now, to this point, I'm gonna do my best, but I'm gonna watch no more fucking football, because then if I watch other teams get it right, it's only gonna make me mad. I'm gonna be like, damn, Tampa, you couldn't have done this. Now I have to do more research on who we should pick up.
The frustrating for me when I look at when we talk the quarterback, the big quarterback conundrum, which is going to be the thing that's going to be talked about if Tom Brady does leave, is how not Dallas, sorry, my mistake, how a Miami quarterback who's third string puts in performances like that. Yeah, we have guys who are underneath Tom Brady struggle against Atlanta.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, but that's like, is that not a problem? Like,
it is.
I've just seen a fucking team go toe to toe with Buffalo.
Yep.
And only lost by, is it 6 points?
Yeah.
6 points.
I think it was three. I think it was three, actually.
Okay. I can't remember the exact score line, but it was within a score, right?
Yep.
That was their third choice quarterback. And then the Tampa Bay Buccaneers go out. They drew level with the Atlanta Falcons. They'll go, we'll put in our second guy who should probably be who is the next guy up. He puts in a touchdown, all well and good. Looked kind of okay. Had a lot of misses. And then we bring in Kyle Trask. And I'm not saying pump the brakes on Kyle Trask. He is trash or whatever. I'm just saying it's just frustrating to see a team like the Miami Dolphins take a third string quarterback, and Brock Purdy's a perfect example of this. He's a third stringer too, and have success. It makes my head want to explode, because I'm like, how are we not? I mean, I know the quarterback position is the biggest conundrum in sports, and there's no real answer. And we could go and get was it? I can't remember his freaking name. The one from Skylar Johnson or whatever his name is. I think that's it. Skylar Johnson, and he could be terrible for us, because some teams, Geno Smith, you put Geno Smith on the Bucs team, there's no guarantee he's going to be anything like he was in Seattle.
I with the receiving core, we have the right. You know who would have been a perfect coach that would have done something, and he's in the playoffs now, and he's doing it. Fucking Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah, we're too far away from that.
No, I know. I'm just saying, it's a guy like that. If he can make a Mr. Irrelevant relevant, that shows you it's just about good coaching. It ain't got shit to always do with if he's making the talent work for him. And you mean to tell me you had the GOAT and you had Evans, who you had Godwin, and you still couldn't get it done? That's where I'm at this point where I'm just done.
Peter Report has just said that Byron Leftwich is gone.
Thank God. I don't, but it's too late. It's too late. It's too late.
If they ain't gonna fucking save anything now.
Right. It's too late. It's too late.
But is that enough to make Tom Brady want to stay when they turn around? You know what they've done with Tom Brady in the past? And I'm not saying Tom Brady's the answer, because I thought he was abysmal this season as well. I've not been impressed by him. But maybe a different offensive coordinator can breathe life into a player. We've seen this. We've seen this with Carson Palmer when he went and joined the Arizona Cardinals. There's no reason for someone not to come in who knows, okay, this guy can do this. This is how I help him. This is how I put him, as me and you always say, best position to win football games. So maybe they bring in somebody that Tom Brady's like, yeah, that's a guy I want to work with. I'm back, baby. I'm not saying it will, but maybe. And I don't know who that person is, but Byron Leftwich needs to be gone.
No, Byron Leftwich should never, ever coach professional sports again. I know what he can coach. Maybe he can coach like an ant farm or something, or just like he doesn't need to do it. He's not good. it's not. It's hey, this is business. A business is a business. He can't take care of it. You and I together are much better than him, or even alone by far. Because he doesn't, just because I said, just because you're around talent doesn't mean you know how to utilize it or know it. He was never good. He was a subpar, shitty ass quarterback himself when he played. That's why, just think about it. The same quarterback he's trying to help, he couldn't even, he played after him and retired before. Enough said.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
I mean,
glad.
I don't put too much stock in that because a lot of, like, I'd say failed athletes become coaches because they have the more patience, because they've been that kind of sideline guy more than anything anyway, especially in American sports is probably a good example.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Sometimes it pans out, but a lot of times it actually doesn't. The ones, it's a lot of them out there. Yeah, you knew it, but even then, you still can't put it into content of where you're actually good at it, because let's be real, some of them, it's just one of those things where it's like, no, you were just shit to begin with. You got there because it was by somebody else, some other dumbass
Yeah, I get what you're
analyst
saying.
that got you in there. You
Because sometimes you've got a guy who hasn't the talent but has the brain power, and that's
right.
why they suck.
Yes,
And they're
exactly.
the ones who'll be good coaches. And then you have the guys who have the talent but not the brain power, and they suck for a completely different reason.
Yes, and some people just should never have gone to the league, because it's like you just got lucky and you got that opportunity. The guy next to you just wasn't, unfortunately, didn't have the same chance that you did. So sometimes, a lot
I'm
of times,
interested to
it's
see
all luck.
what if Leftwich is gone. I want to see what he does next, because I'm interested to see A, who's interested in him, B, can he do it again? And C, I mean, I was never sold on him to begin with because he wasn't very good when he was with
Winston,
Arizona. He was
no,
poor when he was with Arizona, but
yes,
they did take a very bad quarterback at the time. So we all gave him the benefit of the doubt. And then, of course, no risk it, no biscuit comes in, and we're like, wow, this is what we want. This is what it is. And
yeah,
realistically, he got given the blueprint of how to win football games. He did. He got given the fucking blueprint.
yeah. Well, at this point, again, I personally, if I'm a professional person, you do not hire Leftwich again. I want that fucker working at Subway. I want him. I want
I
him.
guarantee you he'll get a job in
I
college.
know he will because of his political connections, but
I don't think it's just that. It's even you take away the political side of it, it's the famous side of it as
I
well.
get it. Yeah, I get it. And I don't wish anything bad, but he's gonna run them into the ground as well. He's just not that good. But
I think his biggest flaw is the fact that he's never had chance to develop as a offensive coordinator, because he's never really been an offensive coordinator. He's always had a head. If his head coach was a defensive minded head coach, when you're a defensive minded head coach, you're hiring guys who impress you on offense.
yeah,
Instead, what happened was, Coach Bowles was like, "This is the offensive coordinator you got." And it's like, okay, well, he's been doing a decent job for the last 2 years. We had him, so yeah, we'll carry on. We'll see what he does. And it's not panned out because this is what happens. He now has to be the creative one because it's not
yeah.
the
I
same
hear
to
you.
write the playbook anymore.
I hear you. Well, we'll definitely see what happens. But on that note, it is getting late. I'm gonna let you go ahead and get some rest because I
But
need to get
yeah,
some rest my damn self. But I will see you tomorrow. We'll talk about this again. It ain't gonna get any better. It's one of those things that's gonna fester all. But
for at least a couple of weeks is going to be shit.
yeah, exactly. So, but again, Slick, I appreciate you just talking
No
about
worries.
this. We had a chance to vent it, but guys, please stay tuned tomorrow for the Bucks Report aftermath.
That's when we get at it.
Yeah, and then we'll talk drafting and things like that and see what we can do. But I appreciate everybody and the Slick. Appreciate you taking this time. Get some
Yeah,
rest now. Please get some
yeah.
rest. I will
That's
see
fine,
you.
brother.
I
No
will
worries.
see you tomorrow. You take care of yourself.
All right, man.
All right, man.
You get yourself some rest too.
Peace.
Okay, guys. So that's kind of like I'm just gonna run through a couple of things before I go, but I just want to let you guys know, like, I'm not tapping out for no reason. It is 5 a.m. If it's 5:15 in the morning in the UK right now, so that is why I'm gonna have to tap out because I got to be up in less than 3 hours to take my children to school. So that's the life of an NFL fan in the UK. It sucks, but it is what it is. We love this game, so well, I do anyway. It was a tough one to watch. We weren't good enough. That was 100% sure. That we look. I embraced at the end of it. I got to a certain point in the game where I just turned around and went, you know what? I'm just going to enjoy seeing the Buccaneers in the playoffs, and whatever comes off, comes off. Whatever doesn't come off, doesn't come off. That's what I want to see. But there has to be changes. I'm glad I'm glad I got to see the Buccaneers in another playoff game. I hadn't seen that in a long while because we had this nice chunk. Hopefully we can stay in it. There's no reason not to. Good coaching, good players will get us there. The division's not exactly wide open right now, but we need to figure this shit out. I don't think Sean Payton's going to answer that question. I think there's got to be some deep-rooted conversations that's got to be had within this organization of the best foot forward that we can go. Will Todd Bowles be the head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers next year? We will see. Well, this year, I guess, because technically it's still 2023, right? But we know it, next league year. Will Levante David come back? I just saw someone saying Levante David said he is coming back. I hope so, because Levante David is my favorite player on defense. We got Akeem Hicks. I don't think Julio Jones is coming back. I wouldn't be surprised if William Goulston came back. Tom Brady is the biggest question mark and is going to be the biggest conversational piece going forward for this season. And I'm telling you that right now because everyone's talking about it because it was talked about last time and we all saw that. Akeem Nunez-Roches, I hope he stays because I just like the guy. I really do. Lane Gabbert, he'll be back if Tom Brady doesn't come back. Carl Rudolph is done. Sean Murphy-Bunting is probably gone. Aaron Stinney will probably return. Josh Wells, it doesn't really matter because he's a rotational piece. Giovanni Bernard is gone. Keanu Neal is probably gone. Brashad Perriman is probably gone. Pat O'Connor is probably gone. Carl Nassib, I hope stays, but we will see. His contract's not particularly big. I'd like him to stay. Logan Ryan, to be honest, don't care. Jeremy Avery, don't care. Derek Singer, don't care. I didn't see enough of them to make a lasting impression. Mike Edwards, this is the tough one. This is one of those. These are one of these players that you got to have a conversation about what you're going to keep. Anthony Nelson, D. Delaney, don't care. And I like D. Delaney. And all these people I say I don't care to. I want if the players ever watch this, it's not I don't care about you. It's like you haven't stacked up enough to have warranted money on you. Cam Gill, not that bothered. Scotty Miller, not that bothered. Nick Leverett, solid guard. I'd bring him back. There's money to be spent and there's things to figure out. Hopefully this Buccaneers team can figure it out. Right now, I just embrace the fact that my team played in the playoffs. And I know there's a fair few of you out there that have been a fan of this team a lot longer than I have. I've only been a fan since 2013. So your Bucs track record and your Bucs cup is much better than mine. At least we got to see our team in the postseason, and yes, we were embarrassed. We were. Hopefully, we get to see them get embarrassed by the San Francisco 49ers. And on that note, guys, it's much appreciated. I got to be up early in the mornings, in a few hours, a couple of hours or a few hours, whatever, with my kids. So I get to go back to sleep after I drop them off at school. I like to point that out. So it's not like I'm staying up from 3 hours for hours and hours. But we got a lot of shit to figure out. But for the most part, I'm just happy to see my team in the postseason, and that's how I looked at it. We weren't good enough, and we got a long way to go. And let's face it, our season record shows that. But for now, and then always, and I always say this, I love this fucking team. Bucs on me, Bucs on 3. 1, 2, 3. Go Bucs!